Hello, sorry the sun is in my face today. However, I want to cover the subject which I think might be quite interesting, and that is white only zone racist areas which are popping up and becoming regular in since Brexit. Now what's interesting is that you don't have white women's only area, white men only area, LGBT only areas. You don't have areas that bar lesbians or homosexuals, etc., which suggest that, as I said in my other video, nationalism is a serious problem. Although the liberals are trying to pretend that everybody's equal in one basket, that is an illusion, and that is a deception and distraction tactics. When they say white only area, they include LGBT, they include white women, they include feminists, disabled. It's all about one happy white family. What's interesting, since Brexit, if you want to find out who voted for Brexit, you could look up the postcode and find out the areas and avoid those areas. Although where I live, the street where I live, that's okay. However, the town I live in, Telford, is a very racist area. It is bad, they don't like to see black people there. My street is okay, my neighbors are okay, they live with you, so I'm not gonna do anything, right? But the Telford area is actually a very bad racist area. There's been lynchings there, modern day lynchings, increasing in race crimes, race attacks and things like that. Also Shropshire tend to attract a lot of, because yet again it's an all white county. It becomes a safe haven for a lot of racists to sort of come together in a commonality that this is the England of 1950s that they adhere to and want. There's no comparison between America racism and Britain, no comparison whatsoever. An African American, if he's got money, he can happily live in a reasonable neighborhood if he's got money. In Britain, it's totally different. I was watching Man vs Food, and one thing I noticed, and that is you got lots of black chefs working for white families in America. If you're hardworking, if you got qualifications, skills, experience, the white people have no problem with you. It's the black thugs that white people in America don't like, the black thugs. Right, but if you got qualifications, if you got skills, white people will use your service. In Britain, you could be a graduate and you're getting nothing. You're getting nothing. My brother is a graduate and he ended up working for the sun's coming out. He ends up working for some dodgy, well, not dodgy, but company. Right, let me see if I get a better light than this. So black graduates disproportionately seem to not get the jobs. In fact, there are many black graduates serving as working on tills and stacking shelves, etc. But back to post-Brexit, what's interesting is that since Brexit, it has fanned the flames of racism. But what's interesting is that many white people feel brave to target black people, but not Muslims. And for the obvious reasons, black people will just sing Amazing Grace. You know, we will just, you know, sing the Negro spiritual, you know, but with the Muslims, they will just bomb you to death, you know, and the white man knows that. They don't mess with the Muslims. They'll happily blow themselves up. Black people, they'll just love you to death and sing Amazing Grace through it all. And hence, black people have become easy targets in these racist areas. What's interesting, a Muslim can quite easily walk unmolested, not even get stared at, even with their beards and caps, you know, after a fresh bombing, after a fresh attack, and no white person, you know, will give them evil looks, etc. Right? Obviously, there's a lot involved regarding this sexual racism. You know, you see a handsome black man, tall and strong, and you're walking with your white woman. You know, sexual racism is far stronger than your threat of being bombed. You know, that's too complex to go into. That's a thesis I'd have to write. You know, and I wouldn't bother waste my time. But sexual racism is far greater and foster deeper emotion than the fear of being bombed. You know, however, Telford is the most racist area in England. In fact, the Shropshire is, and the reason being, Shropshire is seen as the county for writers, etc., and William Shakespeare, and is seen as a haven for white people, and as a result, they form a tribal understanding and a tribal connection and bonding. You know, and dare you try to break into, you know, that circle. You know, then what happens is, you know, they will show you through the manifestation of evil gaze and, you know, body language, you're not wanted, etc. But the contradictions is that when Muslims do it, you know, when Muslims sort of move in these areas, they have no problem whatsoever, no problem. You know, in fact, what I want to do, I'm going to do one of these. My friend is going to record me. My friend's going to record me, and I'm gonna you know, stop a Muslim, and I'm going to ask. Obviously, I'm not going to make it a logic question. I'm going to say, oh, would you say that white people are more tolerant since the Manchester bombings in London, etc.? So I'll do it positively. So I'm not going to influence them. And I guarantee you that Muslims will see no difference. They're still in Birmingham, selling their Qurans, etc. But you let that be a black person doing this terrorism. You will see black babies being killed. You will see black houses being burnt. Never Muslim mosque. You know, the same with the LGBT. You know, they target black churches, but they never target, you know, Muslim mosque. Black people tend to be easy targets during times of xenophobia, during times of economic downturn. You know, when patriotism rises, the Muslims never feel under a threat. It's always black people. In fact, survey has been done, and black people were worried about Brexit. I don't see African Americans worried about their status in America. In fact, in Britain, you know, I've never known a white person to say, "Oh, where are you from?" Britain, and leave it at that. They said, no, where's your parents from? Now, because we have 4 generations here, our parents, us, then our children and our children's children, they don't like that. They know what's going to happen. They can't say, where's your parents? They can't say, where you're from, and, you know, was it, they used to say, where's your parents from? No, forget your parents. Where's your parents' from? They can't do that anymore, because my sister, right, has got children, and so has my brothers, which means that I have nieces and nephews, and their parents are born here, and their grandparents will start. In fact, if they got children, you know, the 4th generation is already here. So therefore, they can't use that language. You know, where's your parents' from? So now what they do is say, where are your roots from? In other words, you're not wanted. you always be an outsider. Where are your roots from? Unlike African Americans, they never say where your roots from. They always say, oh, African American, Asian American. American has that kind of bonding. In Britain, because Britain was an empire which controlled the whole world, even America, they have that English dog mentality. Nobody, is wanted. They don't mind going across the world. The English don't mind going to Australia, going to Jamaica. They don't mind that, but you can't come here. It's a totally different rules altogether. So they ask you, what's your roots? In other words, your roots is not here, even though you're fourth generation. And post-Brexit, since Brexit has happened, it has created a lot of racial attacks. A lot of black people are worried. They voice their concerns. That if white Polish are feeling the heat, imagine those whose skin, forget the language, forget your accent, your skin is your passport to where you really belong to. So Telford is the #1 racist area. Shropshire area, is. Liverpool is another one. I'm sure that there are compilations, where it will tell you, the most racist, areas there are in Britain. If you look at segregation, is a problem. You will see that it's problematic. The sun's coming out again. It's really problematic, and I don't think there's going to be a solution. And the reason being is that sexual racism, as I explained earlier, it runs deeper than nationalism. Men not trusting their wives with foreign, lustful men. That will always run deep, and there's no cure for that. And the English has a history of this British dog attitude, this mentality, this colonialism, imperialism that America don't have. America don't have that problem. It's an English problem. The English are the most unfriendliest people in the world because of this imperial attitude that they have, and unfortunately that will not go away so quickly. I don't even think 100 years it will go away. Will Britain lead to a race war? I think it will. I think it will. Maybe they only got a problem with Muslim attacks, but to be honest, I don't think they're going to be targeting Muslims, because Muslims will set fire and bomb themselves. They will target black people. That's my thoughts for the day anyway.